been following along, you'll notice this is the second video in the mod series. This is a little bit different of a screen. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of jump in and look at this. I'll reiterate what I've already said. Modding is difficult, but it's also one of the most rewarding things that you can do in Warframe. And we're going to go over very basic information of modding for frames, weapons, and melee, the big three, if you will. There are more, but on a Neocean, whatever, you drill down and find that stuff. Yeah, I almost said a bad word. But the you drill in, you find the stuff, that stuff. But we're going to talk about configuration, capacity, installing a potato, aura mods, auto install, as well as schools and types of mods. So this video could be just a touch longer than the last one, but this is going to be a little more meaty, if you will. So let's jump in here. This is your arsenal in the back of the ship. If you come down through that door right there, come back here, press the button, you'll come to this screen. We're going to go over this screen in depth in another video, but for now, let's go with our Warframes configuration. I'm going to use the Warframe specifically for a lot of this illustration until we get stuff that isn't just specific to the Warframes. But for now, we're gonna focus on Lavos. So you go in, you upgrade, go to upgrade. First thing you want to do, when I said configuration, there are 3 configurations right here. You can see my mouse kind of going back and forth over them. There's an A, B, C. You can pick whatever it is that you want to put for a configuration. You can rename it, like right here. Click it, rename configuration. So if you build something for a specific activity, say you've heard Javrin's talking about Eidolon hunting or Rapalist hunting or Prophet Taker hunting, a lot of that is in game, but you can build a frame using mods and build a configuration and rename it. So all you have to do is go boom, boom, boom when you're going into a new activity. So you don't have to rebuild for each activity. That's the nifty thing. So that's that in a nutshell. So let's look at the capacity, which is right over here. You see how it says 60 out of 60? Let me find one so you can kind of get the comparison here. But you start with a base amount of capacity right there. Boom, 16 out of 16. So if you are a rank 30 frame, you're gonna have 30 in this capacity slot right here. Remember that. So where Lavos says 60, until you do a few things, it's gonna be 30 once you max it out at level 30. So let's go back to Lavos real fast, because this is gonna be the easiest one to explain. So capacity is this number on the right, the max amount that you can put on a frame. This is the amount of points still available. Now, you're asking yourself, how did I get to a higher number from 30? Well, this is how. You'll notice on this configuration starts at 74. So we're gonna build this a little bit in this one so you can kind of see. So there are 2 ways to increase a Warframe's capacity from the base of 30 at the max level of 30 to 60 and above. The first way is a potato. Potatoes are affectionately the nickname for Orokin reactors, Orokin catalyst, depending on if it goes into a frame or weapon. Goes into a frame, Orokin reactor, goes into a weapon, Orokin catalyst. But to do that, go to actions. You'll see upgrade right here. Orokin reactor would be installed. Mod capacity has been doubled. Now, how do we go from 60 up? That is aura slots. So you'll see the polarity slot right here is for Naramon. If you take a aura mod, put in there that matches, it will double. See how it says 7? It will double that to 14, giving you a grand total of 74. So that's the two basic ways to increase your capacity on a Warframe, which is how you install potatoes and aura mods. And that's the basic. It seems a lot harder than it is, but it definitely isn't difficult. It's literally as simple as click and boom. Or if you find an aura mod that you like that fits the projected polarity, and all of those are different. We'll cover formas and how to change those at a later date. But if you put one, for example, steel charge doesn't match, you'll still get a bonus, but you don't get nearly as much. So see, that's a 9, plug it in, you get an extra 7. So it's better. You can change these again later, more on that, but you can change those to suit builds, and we'll go more into that when we do an actual full-on build at some point. So the next thing in this basics tutorial is auto install. Now, I have almost 1,000 hours into this game. I genuinely, for the longest time, forgot that auto install was a thing. But for those of you that are new, simple. Go into a frame or a weapon, doesn't matter which one. Notice the weapons look exactly the same, just no aura slot. They have an Excellence slot there, but no aura slot. So you just have double the capacity up here by putting in a catalyst, which is this thing right here. Same setup. So let's go to Cedo. Now, auto install works the exact same on everything, but what you do, actions, auto install. It will auto install what it thinks is the right configuration. It's usually wrong. F***ing terrible. Sorry, pardon my French, but it's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Notice it automatically goes here where it shouldn't go. We'll go more into that in a second. But the fact is, auto install doesn't do great. But if you're still kind of figuring out what works where, how to mod, things like that, I would recommend auto install, just because it's gonna, at the very least, give you an idea of what may or may not work. And you'll see stat changes for everything over here on the left. So this build gave us an additional 18% crit chance, an additional 18 puncture. Yeah, but tweaked all of this stuff. So that's kind of how that works. Let's remove all of these. Now, let's talk schools of mods. They come in 6 flavors. There is Excellence. Let's go back into the frame first off, because the frame is going to be easier. So they come in 6 flavors. You have the Aura mod, Excellence mod, the Martyri, the Vazarin, the Naraman, and then Zeneric, then Umbra. We're not gonna focus on this one because those are mods that you get, like I said, later in the game. By then, ideally, you'll learn how mods works. You'll know how that works. But if you notice, each school has a spot. Each of these, well, not each, but some of these have a slot. So let me show you what happens. If you take one of these, Vazarin, right? And you pick it up. Notice how that one turns green. The rest of these turn red. Look what happens when I put it here. It starts at a 9. Plug it in, goes to 5. So that halves the amount of mod space. But what if you put it in one of these red spots? It doubles. Well, it doesn't double. I guess it doesn't completely double. It used to, but doesn't now. So it adds 2 to it. So it costs more to use it. Then in a blank space, just mod cost. Boom. That's simple. On that one. That's where modding and learning how to build your slots out and capitalize on your points is crucial. But again, we're going to go real in depth with that at a later date in a later video. Last thing I want to do is talk about the types of mods. There are a variety, like an absolute ridiculous amount of variety to mods. There is things that affect everything from your status duration to your strength to damage resistance, sprint speed, health, armor, energy, all of the above. And once you pop a mod on, boom, you see in real time what it affects and what it changes. So you see strength, range, and as you're building, just for remembrance sake, if you hover over these, something that didn't used to happen, but if you hover over these, it will actually show you what each one does. So some frames have specific abilities. We'll go more into that in profiles, but this, for basic sake, you just hover over it. It'll say, hey, look, reduces damage to health by 69.2%. Cool. Shields or energy drain, so that's your energy pool, which casts abilities, health pool, shield, sprint speed, status duration, and range, strength, and then efficiency. Again, we'll go more on those in a future video, but everything you do here affects this. Something to keep in mind. To give you an idea, not to freak anybody out, but modding is such a vast thing that you could hand the same frame to 4 different players, all to have different play styles. 4 players, 4 frames, same frame. And because of mods, they could all come out vastly different. That's one of the beauties of this game, actually. Almost no frame is pigeonholed into you have to do this. There are some, but a majority of them are not pigeonholed because of the way that the building has continued to evolve, as well as the way that it's just been really used, which is awesome. And I'm super happy about that, honestly. So I want you guys to keep all that in mind as we kind of wrap up this particular intro video. I know I skimmed over a lot of this, but don't worry, we're going to come back. I didn't want to overload anybody in the beginning. This is a very intricate system. I can't stress that enough. So if you've watched the previous video or this video, or you have a suggestion or something for the future, I want you those to drop them in the comments. I really think that this needs some focus for those to know that are still really new, and we're gonna do a lot of that just to give you that base. I'm just geared up and ready to give you that base. So if you don't want to miss any of these tutorial videos, do me a favor, give me a like, give me a sub, hit that notification bell. You're going to get rang for 1 minute tips. We're going to do all kinds of stuff going forward. That's the easiest way to make sure that you don't miss any of this content, streams, any of that stuff. We want you here. We want you to be a part of it. Boom. It'd be great. Yeah, that wraps that up. I wasn't real sure how we were going to go about it, but that wraps that up. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, I am the Madman, and I will continue to gear you up with all the knowledge you need to face the incoming threats to the solar system.